So I want to talk to you guys today about leading completely, which to me means leading with ethics and integrity. Something I believe is completely missing in our society now from the top down. And I'm so glad that I chose to talk about this, since I changed my mind about what I was going to talk about like 6 or 7 times. But I'm so glad I chose to talk about this today, because I've already seen at least 3 examples just today of authentic leaders who either have dared to be great or are on their way, because they have had the courage to have the EQ or emotional intelligence to be vulnerable enough to understand that they have to lead through empathy. A couple of them have been in this room, and where I really think we saw that were with the leaders of Greensburg. I think that's why this has been such an exercise in success here in this city, because I observed that just through my research of this topic alone, that really great leaders recognize that they have to listen, that they don't have all the right answers, and that it's imperative that they give their audience back, or the people that are following them, the power to know that they are good enough to make this happen. It's not about them. They let their ego go. It's not ever about them, the leader, and they have the emotional intelligence, as I was saying, to recognize that. And so that's what we heard them talking about today, and I had already prepared this, and it just plugged right in. And I saw men, just because those are the only people that we met, the leaders that we met, who obviously have great integrity. And I think that's why this has been so successful here. A number of other reasons, and I've used this example to some of you, but anybody could have come in here and been like Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life and said, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to take advantage of this situation for my personal gain and turn this into Potterville. But nobody did that, because fortunately the leaders here recognized that this was the town that was needed to be run by the people. And so I think that is a demonstration of really strong leaders who have it figured out and represent the type of integrity that we want in leaders, and that we should strive to be as leaders of our organizations. And so that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. So my first question is, do you believe the end justifies the means? And should it? And an example from what we just heard in that last presentation, I believe that maybe is why we've gotten away from things being made here in America, is because of greed, because some manufacturers didn't want to take on the cost that it would entail to continue to make things here and employ people here. It's cheaper for them, and then they can sell it. They can sell more. So some of that's greed based, in my opinion. But so for them, I think the end justifies the means. I believe that the answer has to be no to the question of whether the end should justify the means, and I'm going to tell you why. Because ethics and true integrity will not allow that. Integrity is the basis upon which one's compass sits. It's the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, and we all know that, and who wouldn't say that they didn't have integrity, or at least weren't trying to? We all believe that we do. We all believe we're striving for it, I'm sure. And we all certainly have the ability to choose integrity. But it's my conclusion, based on considerable life experience, which means I'm old, and observation, then integrity is the answer, because jobs will come and go. Relationships and people will come and go in your life. Success will come and go. But integrity is forever. No one can take that away from you if you don't let them. I have always told my children who are in college and out of college just recently now, you may not be the best looking kid in your class, and you may not be the best athlete, and you may not be the best student, although you better try, but you can have the best manners and you can have integrity. And that's what you need to be known for. Integrity is not a value. Integrity makes values meaningful. Integrity is not just the absence of lying, it's telling the whole truth, as painful as it may be to do that sometimes. But if you don't exercise complete integrity in your interactions with people, no one will trust you. Conversely, always choosing to exercise complete integrity in everything that you do, displaying grace and dignity even when you feel you're not always dealt a fair hand, those type of actions will earn you the respect and build your integrity and trust. As leaders, it's vitally important that we understand this. We must dare to have integrity as we lead. So what does that mean? Well, integrity is paramount in leadership. What we've seen recently with many senior leadership executives and politicians, people who are running our country, who have been in the media for scandal and illegal activity, a consistent theme in their downfall has been their lack of integrity and their ability to lead according to a moral set of values. It seems that our society has become virtually amoral and void of integrity. And it seems that, everyone's out for him or herself, just, for greed or ego. The definition of integrity has been hotly contested for years in theory and practice, but what has become clear is that integrity at its core is a combination of both consistency in words and actions, as well as the adherence to morality and one's value in those actions. In other words, it's not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. Not just doing so when someone's watching. A leader's actions are central to integrity, but followers and stakeholders are the ones who assess our integrity on a daily basis. Although each individual judges a leader's integrity differently, there is some consensus regarding some of the criteria through which they judge a leader's, their superior's integrity. Those are, laws, codes of conduct, and ethical standards, as well as informal norms and the values expected by, those with whom we're leading, people in our organizations. Those are kind of the three major ways that the followers assess our integrity, through those avenues. But as leaders, we can significantly impact the assessment of our integrity in various ways. By knowing our values and what is expected of us, by being self-aware, by showing our values and leading through our values. As leaders, we can espouse and enact integrity that will lead to greater organizational effectiveness and build lasting trust. Of course, nobody's perfect, and that lasting trust will inevitably be shaken from time to time over your tenure as a leader. Acting without integrity can severely damage trust, sometimes in ways that can never be repaired. But by keeping your word, telling the truth, being transparent in your actions, and giving without strings attached, you can always rebuild trust and regain your integrity as a leader. Truly leading with integrity will take faith, courage, honor, and respect both for those who are leading you and for those whom you are leading, particularly with those whose opinions would differ from yours. But I challenge you that if you demonstrate the very values yourself to which you choose to hold other people accountable, you will promote trust and encourage innovation within your organization, company, and even your peer groups and family. It's going to require a certain level of vulnerability on your part, like I was talking about earlier. I know that sounds scary sometimes, but Being vulnerable is not synonymous with weakness. As we saw earlier today, vulnerability takes courage. I mean, absolutely. It takes an enormous amount of courage for people to stand up in front of other people and be vulnerable about any experience they've had in their life, or to be vulnerable enough to share any experience with other people. But vulnerability doesn't mean full disclosure of everything at all times. We only share with those who've earned the right to hear our story or who can bear the responsibility of hearing it. We have the power to decide when to share our vulnerable sides, and that's all part of the anatomy of trust. But when building the trust with those around you, those people whom you're leading, they must know that you're authentic, because being an authentic leader is very important. And that's one of the things that I noticed with the leaders of Greensburg today. They clearly are authentic men. Those whom you're leading must believe that you too have been there, wherever there is, that you've gone through something similar enough to empathize with their situation, and that you honor and respect what they may be going through. Empathy is one of the very keys to integrity. You can't be fake, pretentious, or disingenuous, because people will see through that, and they should. You must lead with emotional intelligence. You must possess self-awareness and self-discipline to know that you're not always right, and be willing to admit your own mistakes and correct them. You must possess social awareness and relationship management. Promote an atmosphere of doing the right thing, encouraging transparency, open discussion, open door policies to promote open discussion about organizational structure or method. Encourage those whom you are leading to speak up and let them know that you're truly listening and value their opinion. Make a connection and have the courage to be vulnerable. Promote trust. Again, this level of integrity requires authenticity, or you will lose their trust. And integrity can never be contrived. It's an honest quality that is cultivated, developed, and earned honestly over time. In order to lead completely, we must lead with ethics and integrity. As a leader, always ask yourself this question: what action is in the best interest of the organization? And remember, there's no such thing as a minor lapse of integrity. Thank you.